Ok, bienvenue dans le cadre de notre émission African Ferrari Show pour le mois de mars, mais nous étions occupés, raison pour laquelle nous le faisons aujourd'hui. Nous vous disons d'abord bonjour à tous nos amis qui parlent français. Bonjour, comment vous allez? Et nous espérons que vous allez bien. Et pour le début du mois d'avril, mais aussi en Swahili, tunamisalimia jambo yenu habari. Et j'espère que muko wazima, lingala mbote mbote mbote, en anglais hello, how are you guys? Premièrement, nous allons dire félicitations à l'équipe nationale de la République démocratique du Congo qui s'est qualifiée à la Coupe du Monde, qui avait battu l'équipe de Jamaïque par 1-0. Donc, ils vont se retrouver à la Coupe du Monde ici aux États-Unis, au Texas et puis à Atlanta pour le mois de juin. Mais dans le cadre de notre émission d'aujourd'hui, nous avons une invitée spéciale que vous allez découvrir tout à l'heure. Et elle parle français un peu, donc voilà, on va mélanger l'anglais et puis le français. Donc, vous allez la découvrir tout à l'heure. Et elle va se présenter maintenant. Allez, bonjour Janet.
Bonjour.
Comment ça va?
Très bien, fatigué, tired.
Ok. Alors, tu es prête pour parler en français et puis l'anglais? Aujourd'hui, nous allons parler d'une ethnie vraiment très spécifique que nous tous nous allons découvrir pour la première fois. C'est ma première fois aussi. Raison pour laquelle j'avais invité Janet qui va vraiment parler en long et en large concernant ces groupes ethniques qu'on appelle les Kurdes en français. Et ce sont un groupe ethnique et tribal, diversifié, principalement concentré dans la région du Kurdistan, situé dans les monts Zagros et puis à l'est des monts Tauris, qui font aujourd'hui partie du nord-ouest de l'Iran et sud-est de la Turquie et du nord de l'Irak. Alors, elle est tellement engagée, elle est en connexion avec ces groupes ethniques. Et aujourd'hui, nous allons écouter, nous allons suivre ce qu'elle fait pour ces groupes ethniques, malgré qu'elle n'est pas originaire de là. Donc, les lots, tozana masolo, tokobeta pona bande konabiso, et groupe ethnique mo babeng ba kurde, on a notre ba déjà en français, ba un peu éparpillé, na Irak, Iran, tout ça, na sud pe à Turquie. Nde masolo tokobeta lelo, yango na invita ki Janet, o akolobela biso, comment azali engagé na bango, connexion nini aza na bango, et puis donc auto sala mobembo moko kuna, tukuyeba makambo nini o asalaka. Wandugu wapenzi en Swahili hatuna mingi ya kusema, leo tutasema juu ya kabila moja banaita Bakurde au biko kule banakuwa grupe moja biko ku Turki, bengine biko ku Iran, bengine biko ku Iraq. Iko kabila, iko sa vile makabila tuko nao ku Kongo, tuko na Bakusu, tuko na Babembe, tuko na watu wa Kasongo, wa Songola, ile magrupe ile yote ile. Alors, hii grupe tutasema leo ko grupe moja ethnique, na tutaona kuko mafoto kule, leo atatuparler sur ça. So now, Janet, so can you introduce yourself or how are you involved with the Kurdistan?
Okay.
Connection. So we're going to talk more about your connection with this group of this ethnicity group. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Okay. Yeah.
So it's a good question because I'm not Kurdish.
Yeah.
And not by a long shot, but I have been involved with the Kurdish freedom struggle since the year 2011. Mm-hmm. How did I get involved? Mm-hmm. Well, it goes back more than 20 years ago to my partnership with a local author, social theorist here in Burlington called Murray Bookchin. That's Murray and then Bookchin. He was a social theorist who wrote many books. He wrote about democracy. Mm-hmm. He thought that, but not in this representative democracy in the sense where you vote for a representative that goes to Washington and then you sit back and watch TV while they make decisions about your life. Not that kind of democracy. This is the kind of democracy that's a citizen democracy based on the Vermont Town Meeting. Okay, so instead of sending representatives to Washington, citizens meet in assemblies and make decisions about their own lives themselves, like in town meeting. He made this into a whole political concept that by a very indirect way, ended up in the hands of the leadership of the Kurdish freedom struggle, the PKK.
Oh, okay. So how we can locate them, where the geography distribution, where they live, the Kurdistan ethnicity, where they are, where they live.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're in 4 states in the Middle East, mostly in Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. And you can see how this ideology about bottom-up democracy would be good for them, because Kurds are a large ethnic group without a state. The best analogy is the Tuareg, right? So it's a large population of people spread over many states as a minority. In the case of the Kurds, they are, like the Tuaregs of the Middle East, they are persecuted wherever they live, because a lot of the, like Turkey and Syria especially, were very nationalistic. Turkey is very pro-Turkish ethnicity. Syria is very pro-Arab ethnicity. So they always persecuted the Kurds and used them as the enemy in order to fan support for authoritarian regimes. So the Kurds developed this ideology borrowed from Bookchin of bottom-up democracy, whereby they would live in these states, but their demand is for the democratization of those states and for an autonomous area where they can control their own affairs democratically. And their ideology is not only democratic, but it's gender equal and pro-ecology and not necessarily capitalist.
Oh, okay, understandable. So what languages they speak?
They speak Kurdish. Well, so there's different dialects of Kurdish.
Yeah.
When a people forms a nation state, like Italy, like there were a lot of Italian dialects, but but when the Italian nation state was formed, they picked one, and that became Italian. The Kurds never had a nation state, so they didn't go through that process of unifying the language. So there's still 5 or 10 different Kurdish dialects.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
But there are certain ones are spoken by more people than others.
Oh, perfect. So can you talk about the religion? Most of them, they are Muslim? Or?
Most of them are Muslim, but they, unlike many people in the Middle East, they don't let their religion inform their politics or their state. They basically have separation of mosque and state. Okay. Right? Like we have separation of church and state, they have separation. So it's just something they keep to themselves. They don't try to form like an Islamic state, for example. They're not interested in that at all. In fact, this ISIS, Islamic State, that tried to impose Sharia law in the Middle East was their big enemy, and they went to war with us against Islamic State.
Oh, I see.
In 2014, 2015. They were allies. The Kurdish forces were allies of the U.S. in the war against Islamic State.
Oh. So as we found many like immigrant communities in the United States, in America we can find also some communities who they live maybe in New York, Vermont, or Boston. Yeah.
There's some in the New York area. I'm affiliated with the New York Kurdish Culture Center down there. But the largest population of Kurds in the United States is in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
I don't know why. There's also a lot in Toronto, a lot of Kurds in Toronto and in Montreal. But the largest area of the Kurdish diaspora is in Europe. Not in North America.
Perfect. That's good. And can you talk about the culture?
The culture, well, they live under conditions of oppression because they're persecuted, as I said, by the nation states where they live. So all of their culture, they have beautiful cinema, visual art, literature in their own language, music, dance. Oh my gosh! So I'll talk about that the importance of dance. Let me talk about it now. So because they're an oppressed people. They have a very hard time moving forward. Where do they get the cultural resources to continue to resist? They're the largest ethnic group in Turkey, and Turkey tries to assimilate them or repress them, keep them from using their language, keep them from expressing their culture. They have no cultural rights there. So cultural performances are a form of resistance, as another form by which they demand their rights. Most of the Kurdish writers and journalists especially the ones I met on my last trip to Kurdistan last week, they've all been to jail. They've all spent time in Turkish prisons. Every single one of them. It's almost expected, and it can be it's anywhere from a few months to 30 years. I met a woman who is now the co-chair of Kurdish PEN. That's the writers, the group that supports imprisoned writers. She spent 30 years in prison. 30 years. That's most of her life. The system is geared to oppress Kurds who identify themselves publicly as supporting Kurdish rights. So if you do that, you're going to end up in jail. So the dancing, it's sometimes, Jules, it reminds me of the development of blues in the Mississippi Delta under slavery and in slavery times and afterwards. By singing, that became a way by which a people coped with their incredible abuses and misery to which they were subjected. Developed a whole beautiful form of music, the blues. With Kurds, they too have a cultural form. It's this dance. They get up. Well, you can see it in some of the slides that are passing by here. They have a kind of a communal line dancing called govend. And the steps, they join hands, and the steps are very simple. So anybody, even the most clumsy person like me can dance. And it's just this line dancing where they move along, and it's just an expression of physicality and joy and solidarity and communality and mutual support under difficult conditions. Yep.
Wow.
So
how did you decide to travel there? What was your motivation? Yeah.
So I've been involved, as I said, in the Kurdish freedom movement since 2011. And a Kurdish friend of mine suggested that it would be a good project for me to go to Turkish Kurdistan and interview women politicians. I have to say, I mentioned that gender equality is part of their ideology. They're very serious about that. There's a lot of strong women politicians in Kurdistan, and they are supported by men. No signs of male backlash or anything like that. It's just accepted as normal. So I wanted to go interview. I thought that was a good idea. And I wanted to go at the time of Kurdish New Year, which was last week, March 21st. That's when there's a big celebration in the large in all the Kurdish cities. So I wanted to go. I wanted to film that. I wanted to do these interviews with Kurdish women politicians. But I needed a cameraman. So my friend Eric Aniero accompanied me. He's the one, he took, unfortunately, there he is.
Yeah.
Dropped in, that was well timed. So he took care of the video recording while I interviewed. And if you want a little bit later, I can talk about where these interviews are going to be published. But
okay. So what about the weather, the food? Did you enjoy? Did you have a good time?
Like I say, in between conversations about jail and prison, there is so much joy, especially at this time of year, the Kurdish New Year. It's March 21st. That's a brilliant time to have a New Year, right? Why do we have our New Year on January 1st in the dead of winter? March 21st, it's a time of renewal. Spring is coming. And for Kurds, it's not just a celebration of a new year. It's a specifically Kurdish tradition, so it's also a form of resistance, a form of protest. Among the slides here, you'll see a lot of Kurds dressed in their traditional clothes, including at a fashion show that we attended. A fashion show. Traditional clothes. Doesn't seem like that would be very controversial. Actually, Kurdish traditional clothing was banned starting in the late 1920s. So now it's accepted, but even so, it could be banned again. So having a fashion show, particularly for Kurdish clothing, is itself a political statement. So and so it's a form of resistance as well as a time of celebration, and I love that combination.
Oh, that's good. Can you talk about the food? How was the food?
The food, very meat-oriented, kebabs, baklava, lots of baklava, very sweet but wonderful. They have, but the kebabs, we went into this one restaurant where you'll see where we just sat down right in front of a counter where there were embers on coals and the guys were cooking kebabs right in front of our faces and hot peppers and then just putting them on our, they were just delicious. There were lamb livers. There's also, I have to say, Jules, knowing your interest in health concerns, Turkish breakfast, Kurdish breakfast is not sweet like here. Like American breakfast is like dessert. Turkish breakfast has cheese, it has tomatoes, it has black olives, it has lettuce, it has eggs. It's all savory, not sweet. So that's actually very, very healthy. It doesn't.
Exactly.
Their blood sugar doesn't rise.
Perfect. Oh.
The way ours does. Yeah, I recommend Turkish breakfast to everyone. I want to do it now. I think it's very healthy.
So you guys are gonna.
There's the kebabs.
That's good.
The lamb livers. Yeah.
So Janet is one of the members of the board of New American Public Health Initiatives, which focus on health education and health promotion. So she's very, very involved. So thank you for that, for mentioning the prevention. You know, it's very important so people they can do the self-management of chronic disease. They can prevent also the chronic disease. So now we're gonna talk about your motivation. We said already. So how long did you spend there in Turkey? It was in Turkey?
It was in Turkey. First we went to Istanbul for a couple of days, interviewing Kurdish politicians there. That's the large international city, very important historically city. It was the capital of several empires. It's a very beautiful city. And then we traveled to the southeast to the main city in Kurdistan called Diyarbakir, which is known locally as Ahmed, and interviewed people there, not just politicians, but also filmmakers and the head of Kurdish pen writers. So, and I have to say that in the southeast part of Turkey, they consider themselves colonized. So this is a language actually that was very familiar to Eric when we were there, who talks about neo-colonialism in Africa, because the Kurdish areas of the southeast, they consider themselves a colony of Turkey, basically occupied by Turkey, and they're trying to, well, they some of them, like I say, their ideology says it's important to, develop bottom-up democracy, but there are overtones of if only we were independent of Turkey altogether. They solve that conundrum by calling for the democratization of Turkey. They want to get rid of that autocracy and embrace diversity. And the Turkish constitution says if you live in Turkey, you are only a Turk ethnically, full stop, period. So you can't be Kurdish legally. Openly Kurdish legally.
Wow.
So they want to change that part of the Constitution so that it's inclusive. They want equality for women. They want bottom-up democracy. And they formed a lot of allies. All the they're the most important progressive force in Turkey now. And they have a lot of allies, the LGBTQ community, Circassians, other ethnic groups, labor unions, women's groups are all sort of allied with the Kurds in this formation called the HDK that is trying to push for this democratizing agenda in Turkey.
Wow.
So,
So the project you did start, is the first project you guys did realize, or you did in the past also? I think you were in Africa also.
Yes, went to twice in the past year.
Which country did you guys go?
So in August, I was part of a delegation to TSS, which is the sister city of Burlington. We were trying to form like a human connection with this, to give human connection to this resolution that had been created. It was beautiful. We were wonderfully welcomed there, and then a couple of months later, we attended the 9th Pan-African Congress in Lomé, Togo.
Wow!
So this was partly because we were working with Robin Lloyd and the Toward Freedom legacy, and Toward Freedom is a periodical that's existed since the 40s that has published about all the Pan-African Congresses. And so there needed to be a coverage of the 9th. And so actually at that time it was Eric, who invited me, he was the one that did the talking and I did the camera. So we trade off roles.
Okay.
But well, the reason we're doing all these videos is because we're in the process of forming a new platform now called Global South Watch.
Yep. Yep.
It will be a YouTube channel and it will be a website. We're in the process of the past 4 or 5 months of preparing for the launch now. I think the YouTube channel might even launch next week. We might almost be ready then. But very soon in any case. The idea is that the mainstream media does not cover the Global South well enough.
Exactly.
That it hardly covers it at all, and when it does, it's only in terms of U.S. interests or military, or isn't it terrible that they're fighting again, and blah, blah, and democracy is hopeless there, blah, blah, blah. So we want to give the real voices of people in the Global South, and Eric's expertise is obviously Africa, mine is Kurdistan, and we're hoping that once we're going to concentrate on those 2 areas at first, but we're hoping that as the project grows, we can attract writers from South Asia, from India, from Latin America, and so that we really truly can cover the broad Global South. It's a work in progress now, it will grow, yeah.
Very, very good idea. So I think for your next trip, probably we will travel in Congo. I was talking to Eric. We can plan now. We can travel in Congo to be fine too.
Will you come with us?
Of course.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, all right, it's a deal.
I'll be there. So I was talking to Eric if it's possible we can travel in Congo, the capital, and then we can go in south. The one province they call Lualaba because that province has a lot of minerals, which now I will say it's critical minerals because Congo signed a deal with America since last December. So the critical minerals Congo they're gonna sell to America, and America can provide also support for the security. You know, since 1994, Congo has many problems, economic war.
Yeah.
So Congo did sign one deal with America, so they can sell all critical minerals to America, so America can provide, also the support for the security. So
the United States can exploit African resources some more.
So if we have a chance, we can travel there so we can see how the province has a lot of cobalt.
Maybe we could interview some
miners. Copper, because now, at the end of when Biden was at the end, he traveled in Angola because they did make a deal. So there's some minerals they can take from Congo. They're gonna use the pathway through Angola, Indian Ocean, and America. So Lualaba, it's very close. It's close with Angola. So there, even lithium, what they call lithium. Lithium is a mineral helper to make electrical cars.
And phones, I think. Even smartphones?
Yes, coltan is a cell phone and computer, but lithium helps to make electrical cars.
Oh boy.
So there, it's the core of the Congo. All cobalt in the world came from there.
What do the local people think of that?
The local people, it's two things. So one, in Congo, instead of people, they need peace, So because since 1994 until today, it's like 25 million Congolese were killed because of economic war. And now
25 million?
Yes. Jeez, and now the population, they say, no, enough is enough. We need peace.
Yeah.
So if you guys, instead of maybe multinational companies, they try everyone to take the minerals, why not, if you guys, you want the minerals, it's easy way, you can provide for us like a support for security, and then we can sell the minerals to America. So this is the reason the population, some people, the population are very, very tired about the war.
Oh, I
It's
bet.
the reason you see many people, a lot of many communities, Congolese communities, they are here because they were refugees, they moved here. So, you know, it's a political situation, but I don't have, I'm not allowed to talk profoundly, but superficially, I can say that Congo, since last December, they did sign the deal with United States for critical minerals. Yeah, so Congo gonna sell the critical minerals to America, so America can provide support for the security.
Security. That means armed forces.
Yes, exactly.
That the state can repress the. Yeah. Okay. All right. I get.
So
the picture.
there's two categories of people. There's one they are not. They're happy. Another category say no. Why they can.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
So there's some topics I'm not allowed to talk here.
Okay.
But in general, it's like that.
When we go to Congo, you'll show us where to go and who to interview.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Good. Good.
So you were in Togo, in Africa. What did you discover there? The population, they are very, very kind, open-minded, or what?
Oh, well, very kind to me.
Yeah,
Very.
okay.
I mean, just could not have asked for to be treated better. But it was a Pan-African Congress, so they weren't interested in white people, right? They were interested in trying to figure out really what is a viable future for Africa. What does Africa need in order to reclaim its narrative and become a place that is economically productive as it is culturally productive, because Africa is very strong with cultural production, to be sure. So there were maybe 300-400 people there, a lot of whom were speakers, intellectuals, activists, professors, just ordinary people from all over the continent, with an emphasis on West Africa, but also from the Caribbean, from the diaspora, from the Caribbean and from Brazil, because all those, they're considered, the diaspora is considered part of Pan-Africanism. In fact, Pan-Africanism is an idea that came from the diaspora, I think from Trinidad and Tobago. But it was a place where people could talk about the need for example, an African currency. I mean, I didn't know this when I arrived there, but like most African states, they have their own currency. I mean, I guess in West Africa, there's still the former French colonies have CFAs, but CFA francs, but they control their own currency. There was a strong argument made that Africa should have its own currency, a continent-wide currency, so that it can create, first of all, to make it easier to trade, because when you have different currencies, there are trade barriers, right? So even among African countries have trouble trading with each other. They have to pay fees. So have one currency and have a development bank. If you have a single currency, you could have a development bank that would allow, for example, maybe people in the Congo to take control of their own resources rather than make deals with the United States. That could finance development of the continent. So there were economic ideas, there were ideas about the narrative, about changing the narrative about Africa, about changing the political structure. For example, at the United Nations, he says there were people saying that Africa should have at least 2 seats on the United Nations Security Council. It makes up a large portion of the world's population. It should be represented accordingly. It should have veto power. He talked about following the model of the European Union, whereby those states in Europe got together and formed their own internal trade market first. We could do the same in Africa, form its own internal trade market. There were it was a whole range of ideas. A lot of the emphasis was placed on youth, the rising generations of young people in Africa. They are definitely bearers of hope for Pan-Africanism and for the future of Africa, because they are, I mean, the young people that, at least that I met in Lomé, are well educated. They're internet savvy. They know how to use technology. They're educated. They're ready to contribute to global culture. And they want to help bring Africa forward in that respect. And they're very excited about the prospect of that, and they see a lot of potential. So the youth are very important, women are very important as bearers of hope, and also the diaspora, and forces of democracy. Pan-Africanism isn't the same as democracy, because there's been some disaffection with the way democracy has turned out in the past couple of decades in some African countries. But it certainly can be connected to democracy. And frankly, we interviewed people who spoke, but we also just interviewed ordinary people who attended the conference, because our approach is to what we call citizen diplomacy. We think that it's important for people to talk to each other across borders and build connections across borders, and not depend on states to conduct all the international relations. That people need to take diplomacy into their own hands and build connections.
So one good idea. So next month we're gonna celebrate Africa Day. Is it possible, you guys, you and Eric, you can be like a panelist? You can talk about your trip in Africa, about the Pan-Africanist Conference, and maybe we can see the video, the interview with people. So
that would be great. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
I'm gonna share with Robin. So we were looking someone, the panelists. So I think this is the good. It's gonna be a good topic. So we can be one of the panelists that day. Okay. I think it's gonna be the May 30th.
Oh, May 30th. Okay.
Yeah, on Saturday.
On my calendar.
Yes. It's ALV.
Yeah.
You know, the committee room. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see. Then I'm gonna share with Robin. So you guys are gonna invite you, and you're gonna present all the interview you did in Togo, and
Okay. Be delighted.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
And our YouTube channel will be up by then, and our website will be up by then. So
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So do you have anything to say or to advocacy about Kurdistan group?
About what?
Do you have any advocacy for the Kurd population?
Oh yes, well I continue to collaborate with them on the New York Kurdish Film Festival, even though I'm not Kurdish and don't live in New York, but I help with their film festival, and I edit books. I'm currently editing a book about Kurdish women prisoners right now. I'm working with an esteemed Kurdish editor who lives in the UK. Actually, and I'm working on 2 memoirs. So, helping Kurdish people, because I work in book publishing. So, helping Kurdish people tell their stories. It's very important for, as you know, for any oppressed people. It's important for African people to tell their stories. Actually, Eric and I are sort of hoping that this project can ultimately have a publishing arm where we can publish books and memoirs as well. So, but we're thinking big. Right now, we're just starting. We're right at the beginning. So.
Okay. Perfect. Anything else to say in French? Vous avez quelque chose à dire en français? Elle, c'est Janet. Janet, elle est vraiment très dynamique. Elle est engagée. Elle a été au Togo. Elle a été au Sénégal. Alors, nous aurons Africa Day le mois prochain, le 30 mai. Donc, elle va nous présenter toutes les images. Et va faire la présentation avec Eric Agnero, voir tout ce qu'ils ont découvert en Afrique, au Togo et puis au Sénégal, et parler sur le panafricanisme et comment est-ce que nous tous nous pouvons nous unir et puis changer un peu le monde. Voilà, donc vous allez venir nombreux, les 30, il y aura des affiches nous allons faire pour que vous puissiez venir voir et puis écouter, échanger, mettre les idées ensemble. Okay, so anything else? Your impression about African variety show? This is your first time, right?
Yes.
It's not the first time or the last time. Hopefully, you're gonna continue.
I hope so.
Your impression.
I think your show is fabulous. I'm so glad that you've continued to do it for all these years. I think it's a really, really important connection, bringing together this community, and really appreciate. You're building bridges between the different communities in Vermont. I think so.
Exactly.
I salute your work.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
So about all the rivers, even you didn't attend the concert. what do you think the idea, the project we did last time about all the rivers?
Oh, yeah, I like it's a great name. It evokes, just the name evokes diversity.
Yeah.
I think I'm really excited at the wonderful turnout that concert had. It seemed like it was really packed there. And I think people people attended this concert and they wanted to affirm their solidarity with the immigrant community.
Yes.
And I'm really proud that Burlington turned out to be so strong for immigrants.
Yeah.
And because as we all know, it's immigrants that make our country strong.
Exactly. Yeah. Ok, merci beaucoup les amis. Nous sommes arrivés à la fin de notre émission aujourd'hui. Donc nous étions vraiment beaucoup plus, on parlait beaucoup plus sur la population kurde, l'ethnie kurde, qui est vraiment une population indigène et qui demande beaucoup de soutien, beaucoup de support pour faire le plaidoyer. C'est ce qu'elle fait comme travail, malgré qu'elle n'est pas de là. Elle est américaine, mais voilà, l'amour de se donner aux autres, c'est un bon apostolat pour soutenir les autres. C'est ce que nous devons faire pour changer le monde ici. Alors à tous nos amis, nous vous disons merci. Nous aurons encore un autre numéro pour le mois d'avril. Et espérons que ce n'est pas la première fois ni la dernière fois. Elle va venir encore. Et nous disons merci pour leur projet, que moi aussi je suis dedans dans ce projet parce que nous irons au Congo aussi. Donc nous avons au Congo pour réaliser le projet wana eza malamu mingi pour connecter le monde à d'autres réalités qu'on ne présente pas à la télé. C'est seulement beaucoup plus de problèmes politiques et autres choses, mais il y a des réalités internes qui doivent être présentées. Moi aussi je viens d'une tribu indigène et que nous allons parler, nous allons découvrir avec eux dans les jours qui viennent. Alors, tunampikia aksanti, watu wote mtafata. Tulobi merci à Lingala et merci à toute l'équipe de CCTV pour la coordination et la réalisation. Et bonne fête Pascal, déjà. Bonne fête Pascal à tous et à toutes. Que Dieu vous bénisse. Nous vous disons merci encore, félicitations à nos léopards pour la Coupe du Monde au mois de juin. Merci.